Welcome all, and an extra special welcome to those of you who fell asleep with the TV on, and now your YouTube algorithm has just picked up and put me on your TV. So let's go. For those of you who are watching this on social like Facebook or Instagram, and you're like a mate and you're not a drummer, this is going to be zero interest to you because it's a product review for drums. So you can just carry on scrolling past and do whatever you want to do. Not that I don't like views, but the point of views is that people actually enjoy what they're watching. So this is not for you. However, if you did specifically search for this on YouTube, then you're definitely going to want to stick around because what we are looking at is the Evans tension key. So, first of all, we need to ask, what is it?
What is it?
The Evans tension key is essentially a torque wrench for tuning your drums. And for those of you who don't know what torque wrench is a mechanical tool that you can set to a certain level of tightness, torque, and it will stop with either an audible noise or a physical motion when it gets to that tightness. So Evans have borrowed that principle and designed this key so that when you turn the tension rods on your drum, when it gets to a certain level that you have picked, it will click off and alert you that you've got to stop. Did my research first, and I was quite surprised, or maybe not, to find that there's not a lot of love for this little thing out there. There's quite a lot of haters who go as far as to say that it sits at the bottom of their bin along with all the other things that they've bought for their drums that are supposed to dial in the good tension. So that might dissuade you. I'm a bit of the opposite, because whenever I see lots of reviews that are pretty bad, especially when it's a big company like this, it sort of says to me that maybe the people aren't really using it properly rather than actually being a bad product. So I thought I'd give it a bash. Why did I do it? Well, really, it's about changing the heads on the drums quickly and getting them where you need to be. Like most drummers, I've got an inherent fear of going through a skin during a gig, which would be horror. I mean, I've never done it in all the years that I've been playing. I've never done it. I carry spare snare heads and spare tom heads with me just in case. Strangely though, most drummers carry spare skins, but none of them, including myself, actually carry the one thing that is going to stop your show, which is a spare bass drum skin. Because it's not like you could quickly pull the resonant head off and put it on the front, because normally it's got a hole in it and it's just a display head anyway. But anyway, that's not really relevant. So what I want to be able to do was to change a head quickly and just carry on with the show. Now, there's so many different tuning techniques out there. I mean, there's some pretty extreme techniques. People going on about like either cranking it up to maximum tension, leaving it overnight, and then they run a hairdryer around the rim and all this sort of stuff. It's like, great, not trying to take anything away from you guys doing that. If that's your thing and that gets you where you want to be, marvelous. But if in the middle of a gig, if one of your skins gets a big hole in it, I can't really see the audience reacting too well if you're going, can you just hang around overnight and then just wait a little bit longer while I get this hairdryer out? Why is there not a lot of love for this? So the main reason that I can see for people putting down that they don't like it is because they say that it's not accurate enough. And the reason they say that is because if you get little bits of crap inside the threads of the tension rod, it's going to change how stiff that tension rod gets before you actually think it does. So in comparison, if you've got a really clean tension rod and you put this on, click, there it goes. You've got a really dirty one, this one's going to go click a lot quicker because it's a lot harder to turn. Now, that is true. If you've got a lot of swarf and bits of dirt and grime in the threads of anything, it is going to bind it up. But there's a couple of things wrong with that statement. One, virtually every drum tuning technique that I have seen starts off with the same principle, which is that you get all those tension rods finger tight before you go anywhere further. So if there's a lot of grime and crap in those tension rod threads, that's still going to affect you getting it to finger tight, because if here's your clean one, there you go, that's at finger tight. There's your dirty one, that's finger tight. So it's a flawed process, because even if you get everything finger tight and then you use your favorite method of tuning, you're still going to have to tweak that one that's a bit grubby anyway. So to expect that this is going to negate that, that's a bit silly. Also, the second thing really wrong with that is that I've seen some kits with some pretty grubby tension rods and they've tuned up fine. If you've got that much crap in your tension rods, your problem is not this. It's really how you look after your gear. So look after your gear a bit more. How does it work? I don't know if you can see this clearly. I might need to, where are we? Get a different shot. So what you can see on the bottom of there is a little dial. So what you do with that is you pick the tension that you want to set it to, put that on the rod, and when you turn it, when it gets to that level, that black bit clicks off. So that tells you it's got to where it needs to be. So that's how it works. What were my experiences of it? So I thought the best way to handle this was that I wanted essentially to have a list of what all my various drums were tuned to on this. So that if I went through the 10-inch, for instance, I could go, what is it? Okay, I've got to do it to 6. 6, there we go. 12, 9, 10, whatever. So I thought the best way to do this was to essentially reverse engineer the process of it. So I got my drums in tune how I liked the sound of them. And I thought what I'll do is I'll put this at its loosest setting, because then immediately it will click off, and then gradually increase it until it gets to the point where it doesn't click off, and that's the tension. So I started off with my 10-inch tom, went all the way around and found that it went to 9.5. I was like, brilliant, okay. Made a note of that, 10-inch tom, 9.5. Did the same with a 12-inch tom. Went around everywhere, 9.5. Interesting, I thought, that's pretty cool. Makes it easy. Went on to the 14. First tension rod, 9.5. And I thought, okay, there's something interesting going on here. So I refuse to believe that it's just coincidence. So I think it's more just a question of a combination of the skins and the shells themselves. The birch shells at the time I was running Remo Emperors. So I checked the 16. That wasn't quite 9.5, but it was pretty much there. But I thought, just for the sake of it, I'm going to put everything at 9.5. Put it all at 9.5. Sounded really good. Did the same with the bass drum, and that was pretty good. Snare's another story. We can talk about that another time because it's way more complicated. And that was that. I tuned the resonant heads to the same pitch as the batter head to get maximum resonance. Loved it. Great. Since then, I changed from Remo Emperors on the batter to Evans G2. I don't quite know why. I've been a Remo guy since about 1993. I just quite liked the idea that Evans heads are renowned for having a bit more attack. So I did exactly the same thing. Put them up to 9.5. Nowhere near as good a sound. So I actually had to change this to 11, crank it up to 11, to get a better sound, a more rounded sound out of the Evans. And to be fair, with the Evans heads on there at this tension, it does sound a lot better than the Remos at 9.5. The exception here is my floor toms. So the floor toms I have left at 9.5 on the top. Now, because I wanted a deeper sound for my floor toms, because they're only 14 and 16, best way to get a deeper sound is to put double ply on the resonant heads. I've got my Emperors that I took off the top, I put on the bottom. But obviously, the thicker a head, the more it's going to resonate. Boom! So you want to control that resonance a little bit. So I've got that tuned higher than the batter heads. We've got 9.5 on the top, and it's about 10.5 on the bottom, and then there's a little bit of damping in as well. And I think it sounds very nice. I'm really happy with it. I'm never going to change it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get my 10 and 12-inch tom. I'm going to slacken all the lugs off, put them up to set them up to finger tight. Then I'm going to set this to 11. I'm going to crank them all up. Not full to 11 to start. A little bit to start on each one. Then go to 11 on each one, and then I'm going to hit them and see what they sound like. I'd love to have done this on my entire kit so you could hear the floor toms as well. But sadly, those of you who know me know that at home at the moment I've got a lot of building work going on, and that's had an effect. One, that I've no longer got access to my electronic kit, because where I had that set up has had to be cleared for access, so I can't play my full electronic kit. I've just got like a kick pad and a snare pad, so it's Rudiment City. And the shed that my acoustic kit lives in, the scaffolding for the build that's going on is right in front of that door. So I've got about this much room to open the door. So the only drums I could get out were the 10 and the 12, and that's why we got the 10 and the 12 tonight. So there we go. That's the results of the tuning using the Evans tension key, torque key. I can't remember exactly what they call it. And I think it's important to note that, you know, this is an honest review. I'm in no way pretty enough or talented enough for people to pay me to advertise their stuff. So the benefit of that is that you know that I genuinely am reviewing this for your benefit because I want to help people. Is this going to make all of your drums instantly sound amazing?
No.
Because there's still some work to do. You've got to tweak it as you would with any technique of tuning. You talk about, you know, finger tightening, and then people do half turn, quarter turn, and they do the resonant points of each bit and they tune them. So it's not going to get you where you want to be immediately, but it's going to get you in the ballpark of where you want to be really, really quickly. So if you can hold on to it and not lose it, I highly recommend it. But it is your choice. Everything is a choice at the end of the day, and I'm not here to tell you one way to do things or one way not to do things. You've got to make your own decisions. But until then, happy drumming. See you soon.